Hello guys. So this is the UPSC study related YouTube channel, and the theme of this YouTube channel is that I'll be sharing my study journey with you all, so that it will be helpful for both of us. So I'll get the proper direction, whether I'm going in a right direction or not through this study journey. And I hope that I'll be able to help people who actually need some direction. Uh, I don't consider myself as a teacher right now. I am a learner right now. I'm in a learning stage, and I also want to grow. And I also want to learn this syllabus, and to be able to prepare myself well for the UPSC exams. So let's see how it goes. All the best. So, guys, this is the first chapter of environment, understanding ecology. So, what I will do is I will also learn and try to explain along with the learning, so that I'll be able to grasp some things, and if someone is following me, then they will also be able to do it along with me, so that both of us can do it together. So the first chapter is understanding ecology. This is the environment related chapter. So I have made one presentation for it. So the concept that we are going to cover is concept of ecology and environment, levels of organization of ecology, functions of an ecosystem, energy flow in an ecosystem, food chain, food web, ecological pyramid, ecological productivity, biological interaction, ecological succession, biogeochemical cycles, ecosystem services, then some UPSC prelims previous year questions, then UPSC mains Q&A. So we'll quickly go to the next slide, and we'll try to understand what is actually ecology, the concept of ecology and environment. So ecology, what it is? Ecology is a scientific study of interactions of organisms with their physical environment and with each other. The term ecology is derived from Greek word which is oikos, meaning house, and combined with logy, meaning the science or the study of, means the study of house. Literally it means ecology is the study of earth as a household, of plants, human beings, animals, microorganisms. They all live together as interdependent components. The term ecology was first used by German zoologist Ernst Haeckel in 1869. Then ecosystem is defined as a community of life forms in concurrence with non-living components interacting with each other. The term ecosystem was coined by Arthur Tansley in 1935. Then what is environment? Environment is the sum total of all conditions and influences that affect the development and life of all organisms on earth. Thus it can be said as one's surrounding. Then what is sorry, the spelling is wrong. It is autecology. Autecology means the study of relationship of individual species with the environment. Then synecology is the study of plant communities in relation to their habitats of a given ecosystem. Then Gaia hypothesis. It refers to the scientific hypothesis which states that the earth is a complex living entity with a sustenance of life dependent on the self-regulating interactions among organisms and their inorganic surroundings. So So it says like it is a life dependent on the self-regulating interactions among organisms and their inorganic surroundings. So there is a dependency on each other. For instance, climatic conditions depend on the interactions among living organisms like human beings and the non-living atmosphere, all of which regulate each other constantly. The Gaia hypothesis is named after mythical Greek goddess Gaia, who personifies the earth. So it was first proposed by British scientist James Lovelock in his 1972 paper Gaia as Seen Through the Atmosphere. Okay, so this is the concept of ecology and environment. We can quickly have a review. Okay, so I'll pause for 1 minute to just revise the concepts that I learned. Okay, now we'll move on to the next slide, which is levels of organization of ecology. So I will quickly have an overlook on the notes that I have, and then we'll explain it. Okay, guys, so organisms. The seven major ecological levels of organizations are organisms, population, biological community, ecosystem, landscape, biome, and biosphere. Okay, So these are the 7 major ecological levels of organization. Then we will learn about biotic potential and then difference between biome and ecosystem. Okay, so organisms, they make the basic unit of study in ecology. At each level we have the biological unit has a separate structure and function. At this level, the form, physiology, behavior, distribution, and adaptations in relation to the environmental conditions are studied. It is the basic unit of study in ecology. Then, population. In ecology, a population is a group of individuals of the same species inhabiting the same area and functioning as a unit of biotic community. Biological community. Biological or biotic community organization results from interdependency and interaction among population of different species in a habitat. This is an assemblage of populations of plants, animals, bacteria, fungi that live in an area and interact with each other. You read about different types of interactions in detail further in this chapter in topic next, which is biotic interactions. Then ecosystem. The ecosystem are part of nature where living organisms interact among themselves and with their physical environment. An ecosystem, as we have already learned, is composed of a biotic community integrated with its physical environment through the exchange of energy and recycling of the nutrients. As we have learned in the first page, ecosystem is defined as a community of life forms in concurrence with non-living components interacting with each other. The term ecosystem was coined by Arthur Tansley in 1935. Okay, it is the same ecosystem, and what they are saying is ecosystem is composed of a biotic community integrated with its physical environment through the exchange of energy and recycling of the nutrients. Ecosystems can be recognized as self-regulating and self-sustaining units of landscape, for example, a pond or a forest. It is a self-regulating and self-sustaining units of a landscape. Then landscape. Landscape is a unit of land with a natural boundary having a mosaic of patches which generally represent different ecosystems. It is a unit of land with a natural boundary having a mosaic of patches which generally represent different ecosystems. Then biome. This is a large regional unit characterized by a major vegetation type and associated fauna found in a specific climate zone. The biome includes all associated developing and modified communities occurring within the same climate region. For example, forest biomes, grassland and savanna biomes, desert biome, etc. On a global scale, all the Earth's terrestrial biomes and aquatic systems constitute the biosphere. So biome is nothing but a large area of land with distinct climatic and plant and animal species. We'll read about it in the next chapter, which is types of ecosystem. This is the chapter first, understanding ecology. We are just understanding the ecology. Okay. Then next is biosphere. Biosphere is a part of Earth where life can exist. It represents a highly integrated and interacting zone comprising of atmosphere, air, hydrosphere, water, and lithosphere, land. Okay, biotic potential. Now we will learn about the biotic potential. Is a different concept. Okay, there are basically 7 major ecological levels of organization, which is organisms, population, biological community, ecosystem, landscape, biome, biosphere. Now we are learning about biotic potential, the maximum rate at which a population can increase when resources are unlimited and environmental conditions are ideal, is termed as the population's biotic potential. It is the maximum population rate, okay, is biotic potential. Each species will have a different biotic potential due to variations in the species reproductive span, how long an individual is capable of reproducing, the frequency of reproduction, how often an individual can reproduce, litter size, how many offspring are born each time, survival rate, how many offspring survive to reproductive age, carrying capacity. For a given region, carrying capacity is the maximum number of individuals of a given species that an area's resources can sustain indefinitely without significantly depleting or degrading those resources. Okay, carrying capacity is the maximum number of individuals of a given species that an area can sustain indefinitely without significantly depleting or degrading those resources. So, biome and ecosystem. Now, we are going to learn about the difference between biome and ecosystem. So, biome and ecosystem are two different ecological concepts. Although they are closely related to each other, they are different from each other. Biome is nothing but a large area of land with distinct climate and plant and animal species, while ecosystem is the interaction of abiotic and biotic components between each other in a given area. Biome is a large geographical area. Ecosystem is a small geographical area. Biome is greatly influenced by climatic factors such as snow, ice, rainfall, temperature, while ecosystem is not much influenced by climatic factors. Biome is a large category of ecological units. It contains multiple ecosystems within it. While ecosystem is a biome made of biotic and abiotic factors. Some common examples of biome include desert, tundra, grasslands, and tropical rainforest. Some common examples of ecosystem include coral reefs, ponds, Gulf of Mexico. Then, as a biome is a collection of species, it has a great diversity of plant and animal species, while ecosystem has a less diversity of plant and animal species than that of a biome as it is smaller in size. Biome latitude has a great influence on a biome, while ecosystem is not affected by latitude. Biome, all the animals of biome may not interact with each other, while all the animals and organisms of an ecosystem can interact with each other. So this is the major difference between biome and ecosystem. So, so biosphere. Okay, so there is mm, one kind of a circular diagram that we can draw, where atmosphere or air is one circle, lithosphere or land is another circle, then hydrosphere or water is another circle, and all these circles are having some interaction intersections. So the common to atmosphere, land, and water is the biosphere. Okay, so biosphere is a part of Earth where life can exist. It represents a highly integrated and interacting zone comprising of atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere, as already I told you. So it is a living world. Biosphere is the living world where we can see that it is comprising of air, water, and land, because these are the living elements. We have components of ecosystem. What those are: abiotic, as I already told you, abiotic and biotic. In abiotic we have climatic factors and edophic factors. So in climatic factors we have rain, light, wind, temperature. In edophic factors we have soil, pH, minerals, topography. Then after that, abiotic components, we have biotic component. In biotic component we have producers, consumers, decomposers. Producers mean autotrophs. Okay, organisms that make their own food by photosynthesis. Then consumers means heterotrophs, organisms that get their food by eating producers or other consumers. Then decomposers means saprotrophs, organisms that get their food by breaking down dead plants and animals. Okay, in consumers, which are heterotrophs, organisms that get their food by eating producers or other consumers. So in that we have four types: primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, omnivores. Primary consumer feed directly on plants, for example herbivores. Secondary consumer feed on primary consumers. Tertiary consumer feed on secondary consumers, and omnivores eat both plants and animals. Okay, then we have to learn some important terms in levels of organization of ecology. Okay, so I'll just read it through. Give me 2 minutes of time. Okay guys, so ecotone, important terms. First is ecotone. Ecotone is a zone of junction or a transition area between two biomes. Diverse ecosystems. Biomes is diverse ecosystem, so it is a junction or a transition area between two biomes. So ecotone is the zone where two communities meet and integrate. For example, the mangrove forest represents an ecotone between marine and terrestrial ecosystem. Mangrove forest, marine and terrestrial ecosystem. In between that, there is a junction of mangrove forest. So, other examples are grassland between forest and desert. Okay, estuary between freshwater and saltwater, and riverbank or marshland between dry and wet. Okay, so ecoline. Next is ecoline. Ecoline is a zone of gradual but continuous change from one ecosystem to another when there is no sharp boundary between the two in terms of species composition. Ecoline occurs across the environmental gradient, gradual change in abiotic factors such as altitude, temperature, thermocline, salinity, halocline, depth, etc. Ecocline is a zone of gradual but continuous change from one ecosystem to another when there is no sharp boundary between the two in terms of species composition. Then age effect, age effect refers to the changes in the population or community structures that occur at the boundary of two habitats. Two habitats means ecotone. So the age effect refers to the changes in the population or community structures at the boundary of two habitats means ecotone. Sometimes the number of species and the population density of some of the species in the ecotone is much greater than either community. This is called age effect. So the organisms which occur primarily or most abundantly in this zone are known as age species. In the terrestrial ecosystem, age effect is especially applicable to birds. For example, the density of bird is greater in the ecotone between the forest and the desert. Okay. In the terrestrial ecosystem, age effect is especially applicable to birds. For example, the density of the birds is greater in the ecotone between forest and the desert. Then ecological niche is the next concept. Niche refers to the unique functional role and position of a species in its habitat or ecosystem. The functional characteristics of a species in its habitat is referred to as niche in that common habitat. In nature, many species occupy the same habitat but they perform different functions. Niche refers to the unique functional role and positions of a species in its habitat or ecosystem. In nature, many species occupy the same habitat but they perform different functions. Habitat niche means where it lives, food niche where it eats or decomposes, and what species it competes with. Habitat niche. Reproductive niche is how and when it reproduces. Physical and chemical means temperature, landscape, land slope, humidity, and another requirement. Niche plays an important role in the conservation of organisms. If we have to conserve species in its native habitat, we should have knowledge about the nature requirements of the species. Okay, so these are the few important terms in the levels of organization of ecology. Then functions of an ecosystem. Ecosystems are complex dynamic systems and they perform sub functions like energy flow through food chain, nutrient cycling, biogeochemical cycles, ecological succession or ecosystem development, homeostasis or cybernetic or feedback control mechanisms. Ponds, lakes, meadows, marshlands, grasslands, deserts, and forests are examples of a natural ecosystem. Many of you have seen an aquarium, a garden, a lawn, etc. in your neighborhood. These are man-made ecosystems. A garden, a lawn, aquarium, these are man-made ecosystems. Okay. Then we have energy flow in an ecosystem. We'll see into it.